Good morning, everyone. My name is Lytle, and today I'll be hosting Mortgage Coach's Introduction to Edge. What we'll be doing today is getting a little more familiar with Edge. We're going to jump into your account. We're going to create a total cost analysis for a purchase transaction. During this time, we're going to create an FHA product as well as a conventional product. With this, I'm going to show you how to create product as well as fee templates. We'll also review how to download the Mortgage Coach apps as well as review Rate Watch. So with the format, the way we're going to go is with your go-to-meeting, what I would like you to do, there's a chat section. In that chat section, there are links, various links for Mortgage Coach, Edge, Rate Watch, and our app downloads. So anything I'm going to be giving to you is in the chat location. And what I would like you to do is open up the question area, and anytime throughout the call, if you have any questions, please post it in that question area, and I'll go ahead and address them on the call. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So what you're viewing now is a total cost analysis. What I'm going to do is explain the report to you first, so that way you can understand the report, each section. So then when we jump into Edge and we learn how to create the report, you'll be a little bit familiar with the output as you're putting in all that data. So with it, first I want to bring up a screenshot here. And a great way to be able to understand and view the report is through what we call a Z formation, in the sense of starting with the upper left-hand corner, moving to the right-hand corner, and then down to our short-term savings and our long-term savings. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and show you how in explaining each of these quadrants on the report. So the first thing we have, let me get my report back up. So let's go ahead and discuss the summary section. So in the upper left-hand corner, the summary section is where you get all your data. So you can see how you have your loan amount, interest rate, and APR, just the standard information you always give the borrower on the report. The other information we have in the summary section on this page is the payment stream. So you can have a conversation on mortgage insurance, be able to show them the differences between products, as well as if you have an ARM loan. So you have a lot of detail on this space. Next thing I want to do is dive into this More Info button. Anytime you see that More Info button, there's more details behind that area. So in the summary section, it's more details about your loan products. You have your payment breakdown tab, which just goes ahead and shows your sales price, the plain P&I payment, as well as all your monthly costs. When you move over to your closing cost tab, this is where you can find your down payment as well as your loan-to-value ratio. You have all your fees lump sum, but we also have the fee details. So if you click on that, you would be able to itemize your fees for the borrower and show transparency. And during the call, we'll show you how to be able to create this fee template, so that way I'll make it simple and easy for you to create a report each time. Next, we have a reinvestment strategy. With this, you're able to take any additional monies and apply it toward principal. And when you do that, you'll be able to show the borrower a new freedom point when that loan is paid off. So we'll touch a little bit about this just to introduce you to the reinvestment strategy screen. This is usually something that's a little more advanced. We cover this in our Thursday training. So I'm closing out that More Info screen, and now let's take a look at our monthly payment savings in our upper right-hand corner. What this area will do is show you the savings of your monthly payment. So you can see here the FHA product does not have a graph on it. And the reason for that is the highest product, the highest payment product that you're providing the borrower as an option. So you can see next to the conventional product, it has a savings of $142 over that FHA. So you can compare up to 4 products, and always the one with the highest payment will have no graph. So now if you go into the More Info button and be able to provide or get more information about that monthly payment, and then if you do a second lien, that second lien data will appear below. So you'll have all that monthly payment information in that one area. We also have the property appreciation percentage displaying here, as well as if you choose to show the tax benefit, the tax bracket will display. These are 2 fields within Edge that we're going to go ahead and dive into, and I'll be able to show you how you can key in that data. Now let's talk about our short-term savings, our savings over 60 months. What this is, just like the monthly payment savings, there is no graph because that is the highest cost loan. So what is the short-term savings? And what the short-term savings is a savings of our unrecoverable costs. So what does that $12,000 represent? So if you click on that More Info button, you can see all the different data information that you could provide the borrower. But what the numbers represent is the interest and mortgage insurance, if applicable, over that 60-month period. Then we take any of the closing costs and points that are charged on the loan, add that to get a total cost. Once we have a total cost, we then provide the savings, and that's what that $12,498 is. So you have that information here. I usually like highlighting, and we'll talk about highlighting fields on your report. After we create it, we'll walk through and I'll show you how to be able to do all those items. And lastly, we have our long-term area. In our long-term area, I'm choosing to show interest and mortgage insurance paid. And I determined over a 15-year period. So you can see how much each of those products charge in interest and MI. And if you click on the More Info, there's quite a bit of data here. You have your home value. So if you use that property appreciation rate that I displayed in the monthly payment, you'd be able to see how your loan increases over that period of time based on that appreciation rate. We also provide that loan balance, so you know what that balance is at the end of the 15-year period, same amount of equity, total principal, and your total pity payment. So a lot of details within that long-term area besides that total interest in MI. So that gave us a start, a little understanding of EDGE and the report that we're going to create. So now what I would like you to do is let's go ahead and jump into EDGE. So that's edge.mortgagecoach.com. I'd like you to go ahead and place in your email address and password and log into your account. And if you're unsure of your login or password or need a password reset, just email us at support@mortgagecoach.com and we'll assist you on getting that reset. So now you're viewing our home screen of EDGE. You can see the upper section here, our client section. That is where our client-facing reports are. That's the total cost analysis as well as the rent versus own report. In the lower area is our partner section. And in the partner section, we have our open house flyer and our seller buy down. And these are our partner-facing report, our co-branded report that you be your information along with the realtor. So we have those two areas. So today we're focusing on the TCA, and everything we learn on creating a TCA also works with all our report styles. So you could take all the information you're learning and apply it to an open house or a rent versus own report. Moving to the top, before we click on new clients to start a report off, I want you to click on the help button. So if you click on the help button, it's going to take you to our knowledge base. And in our knowledge base, we have a lot of video tutorials, and that's what I wanted to point out to you. There's individual ones on how to create different types of total cost analysis, how to enter FHA loan. We also have topics like the reinvestment strategy that I was showing you. Here's a video tutorial that will go ahead and show you that particular information, how you can use that screen. And I also want to point out before we go back to EDGE is our search engine. In our search engine, if you have a question on a specific topic, you could go ahead and enter that into our search engine. So say if I have a question on MI, I do a search, and you can see all the video tutorials of frequently asked questions regarding MI will display for you. So that's a quick way of being able to find a video tutorial through that search engine. So now let's go back to your EDGE account, and let's start creating a report. So the first thing I would like you to do is click on New Client. When you click on New Client, it starts our process out on creating a report. So you can see the first 4 screens here, we have a total of 8. The first 4 screens are just data collection. So this is, we're going to go through it rather quickly. There's a total of about 5 fields that have to be filled out in those 4 screens, but we will be going through each of the fields to be able to explain what they do, and then you can make the determination if you want to fill out your report more completely or just get by with a few fields. So either way works. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put in my name, first name Lori, last name Lytle. I'm keeping it as individual. if I had changed to marketing, just to show you the only difference is between the first, middle, and last name. It does change the report headline. So if you're doing any type of marketing piece, it's just a little easier way having one line versus the first, middle, and last name fields. If you have a co-borrower, fill in that information. And now let's go down to does he or she rent or own. What these two radio buttons do is just determine your report style. So if you're doing a total cost analysis, you want to keep it marked as own. If you're doing a rent versus own, you can mark it as rent. In one record, you can do both report styles. So if you have a first-time home buyer, you can provide them a rent versus own report, which shows the advantages of owning over renting. Or you can provide that, and with that rent versus own, which shows the tax benefits and such, you can then also provide them a total cost analysis, which really dives into that short-term, long-term, and really provides that comparison. So next I want to talk about is our partner email address. What this is, this field allows you to be able to provide an email alert to a second person. So what an email alert is, let me bring one up for you. An email alert is an alert you'll receive when the report has been closed. So as soon as the report is closed, you'll get an alert letting you know the name of who is on the report, how long it was viewed, and if you're away from your desk or don't have access to Edge right there, you could just click on this link here, and it brings up the report so you can review the report. So at this point in time, this is you want to reach out to your borrowers and be able to answer any type of question. So besides the email alert to you, you could send it to a second person. And with that, let me bring back up Edge. You can place that email address here. So a lot of times people like to keep their realtor partner in the loop, so they can put the realtor partner's email address here. They'll get an alert as soon as that report's viewed. Especially when you're doing marketing emails, you might want to be able to place them on there. But if you also have an assistant or a processor that you want to receive those alerts, put their email address and they're going to receive those as well. Friendly name field. This is just a reference name field. What you want to do is put something that references your report. I'm doing a purchase transaction for this particular case. When you're doing open house flyers, a great reference name is your street address. So we do have a copy function. You don't want to have to keep keying in contact information over and over or uploading the same pictures for your realtor. So we have that copy feature, but you do need to determine your report. So this friendly name field actually is a good habit to get into. So before we move on, I just want to point out on this screen you have to key in the first name. And the more information on the name you fill out, the more it will be on the report. And the only other fields you would have to fill in is identifying the report style. And I prefer if you put in that friendly name, getting good habits. So now as I move to the next screen, this is our goals section. In this screen, all I'm going to do is mark it as purchase a new home. The other fields are for refinance loans, and again, it's just data collection. You don't have to fill it in, but again, the more information you have into Edge, it'll just fill out your report, make it more robust, and provide data for you. Want to point out the notes section in the lower right-hand side. You can place any kind of notes in this area. And with those notes, you'll notice that they carry from screen to screen. So also if you're working with an assistant, you can pass notes in this area, or if there's any kind of information you need to come back to. So now in our assumption screens, we have our property value purchase price. So let's go ahead and put in $350,000. What I want to do here is I'm going to remove this field real quick and identify what these red fields are for. The red fields are data that we need for a report. So if I advance in my screen, if you take note of the ribbon down below, you'll see an exclamation mark. That exclamation mark is letting you know you're missing something from that screen. In this particular case, I left the red field empty, and I need to go ahead and place in my purchase property value or my purchase price. This field triggers your LTV percentage for MI cutoff. So if you key it in there and you see exclamation points in any of these screens, it's just a reminder, go back, there's a field in red that's been left empty. These other fields are for refinances. And on our Thursday calls, our training calls, we really dive into refinances and explaining how to be able to use these fields and create a refinance report. At the end of the call, I will be touching back with our knowledge base, showing you how you can find these calls I talk about, as well as signing up for our Thursday training. Moving on, you'll notice that I keep pressing these arrows. I do want to identify these arrows in the center on the left and right. Anytime you move the screen, that is what is saving your data. That's the trigger. So I wanted to point that out to you. Anytime you make it, fill out a screen, always change it before you exit the file. So now in our affordability section here, you'll notice there's no fields in red. You can bypass this screen. If you want, in a hurry, just want to get through it, get the report created, just go ahead and leave this empty and move on. But what I'm going to do today is explain what these fields are for, and you can make a determination if you want to use them. So let's put in $95,000 as our gross income. Credit status, they told us it was good, so I indicate it. We do not run credit, so you don't have to worry about that. Again, it's just a data collection field for you. Their monthly debt, non-mortgage debt, is $500. So this information in our product section will provide you a debt-to-income ratio. We also have a savings balance here, and what I'm going to do is put in $25,000, well, maybe $25,000, let's correct that, and I'm going to have an interest rate of 0.25. What I'm going to do, and when we get to our analysis screen here, is show you in the reinvestment strategy where this comes into play. This helps on the first-time home buyers where you can see if they have enough cash to close, and I'll show you how you'll be able to see that. If you want to show the tax benefit, you go ahead and enter the tax bracket here. If you're not sure of the tax bracket, you could click on the Define Tax Bracket button. It takes you to a website where you can find, put in their information and get what tax bracket they're in. And remember, this is pre-GFE. It's an estimate. It's just providing an estimate of their tax benefit on the report. Also, if you're doing any type of MCC credits, we do have the capability of doing a comparison of loans, one with and one without. So I wanted to point that out to you. If you do MCC credits, want more information, email us at support. That's also another topic we cover on our Thursday calls. And moving to our next screen in our affordability, if you want to fill out your maximum and ideal mortgage payment, you could go ahead and do that for the borrower, as well as the price range from the new home. This instance, I'm just moving on and leaving these fields empty. So recapping these 4 fields, there was quite a few fields that that we reviewed. But in the client, it's just the name you have to key in, mark it as a purchase in our goals, our assumptions, we're keying in our property value, and then we're done, and we get to our product. So it is quite simple, even though we went and described all the fields. Just remember, quick way, hit all those fields in red, and you're done. So now once we're going to come to our products, we want to create our FHA and conventional. So let's start out with an FHA product with 3.5% down. If you're on an enterprise account, you might, when you select the drop-down for your product templates, if you see any in here, most likely your corporate office has set some up for you. So what I would do is find an FHA template and go ahead and select that down. What I'm going to do is not use a template so we can work together and create a product template together. So let's go ahead and put in our purchase price of $350,000. Right above that, you'll see the question of, is this a VA or FHA program? Mark yes for that. If you click on that percentage button, what that does is just provide a toggle between the dollar amount and the percentage field. So I went ahead and put in 3.5% in there, 4.25 as my rate, and 360 as my term. So with our product template, your 3.5%, your term, as well as that yes for FHA would default. So the only thing you'll have to do is come in and put in your loan amount and your interest rate and move to the next screen. Before I move to the next screen, I want to point out in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to start building the graph. So you can see how we now have the P&I payment as our first portion of our graph that we're building. And below that, you'll see how you have the debt-to-income ratio as well as your LTV percentage. Now let's move in and put in 15 days prepaid interest. You would want to find out what your company uses. Is an estimate of 15 days? Maybe it might be 30 days. So once you find that, key it in, and this will also be part of your default. Going down to our percentage for our upfront MI, click on that percent sign and put in 1.75 and add that MI to the loan amount. Again, that is also part of your default. So now let's dive into our fees. There's a couple ways of doing our fees. You can either enter it as a lump sum payment. So say we're estimating their APR fees at $1,500, non-APR fees at $1,100. You can key it in this way and just provide a rough estimate. Or you can go into the closing cost details and build out your fee templates and provide that transparency. So in our fee templates that you're viewing right now, you can see that we have an option to choose for what state as well as template. So again, if you're on an enterprise account, you might, go ahead and select your state and then choose your template and bring it down. What we're going to do here is start from scratch, create a template together so I can show you how it's done. On our conventional product, I'll show you how to pull down a template and modify it. So if you are on an enterprise account, you'd be able to make modifications to your own custom templates. So how do we work the fee area? So you'll notice this blue bar a little toward the middle. You'll notice that we start out with 15 days interest, and that's the start of our borrower paid amount. You'll also notice the two green buttons, Add Fee, Add Custom Fee. So what I'm going to do is click on Add Fee a couple times just to get line items out there. And the best way, if you're creating fee templates, the best way to do it is to get a fee worksheet from your LOS system. And with that, you should have the description of your fee, as well as the dollar amount and who the fee is being paid by. So you have all those options on that worksheet, and it should be easy to build out your template. So let's say we have a processing fee. So if I go into my down arrow, I'm selecting the letter P, and then I'll select processing fee. Let's go ahead and put in an amount of $4.95, and I'm making sure it's marked as an APR item. So this is how you go ahead and place in an APR item. Now let's do a non-APR. So if I type A for appraisal fee, have that line item, and put in $4.75, and that's not an APR fee, so I'm leaving that empty. So you can see how it's quite easy, very intuitive. Just click on the Add Fee and just add the line items for your fees. If you do not see your fee description within the list, we do have an area where you can have a custom description. So if I click on Add Custom Fee, and I'm just putting in custom fee, and I'm putting in today's date, which you don't need to. It just shows you the fee I created today. So with that, you put in your description. It could be earnest money, lender credit, whatever might be different than what you see in the description. The percentage field we have, you can either go off the loan amount or the property sales price. You can also indicate if it's an APR item here. Once you're done, if you press OK, if you go into your drop-down, that custom fee you just created is now in that list, and it will be in that list for any future fee templates. So now with that, let's go ahead and I'm placing in a $500 amount in that field, and I'm done. So that's how you create a custom fee label as well as a non-APR and an APR fee. So now let's go in and talk about contributions. So with contributions, I'm clicking on Add Fee, going into my drop-down to the word contribution. With the contribution, we have logic behind this field. And with it, I can go ahead and enter a positive amount of my contribution. So I'm having a contribution of $500, but the one thing I did want to notice, and I didn't do it, if you'll notice the borrower paid fees is $2,000. So if I put in $500 for my contribution, you'll see that as soon as I press return, the borrower paid fees has dropped by that amount. That is the logic behind the contribution label. So with that, you could put in the amount of your contribution and then indicate who's paying that fee, if it's the lender or your seller. So that's one way of doing a contribution. What I find out, some people do not want to use that label of contribution, want to use their own label, and that's fine, but because there's no logic, we have to do things a little differently. So let's go ahead and add a custom fee, and let's say this one will be lender's credit. So I go ahead and press OK, and now you'll see that's in my drop-down as well now. But because there's no logic like it is in the contribution, look how when I put in what you would want to do is put in a negative fee. So if I put in $500, it will go ahead and drop that borrower paid amount by $500. So only, and then we have to indicate that the fee is paid by the borrower. So this will offset the borrower costs. And the only reason you have to do a negative is because you created a custom label and not using the label that has the logic. So you're able to do that, be able to create your own custom contribution lines. If you're doing earnest money, same type of thing, you would have to enter it as a credit. So I want to be able to point that out to you. So now you know how to do your fees. Just grab that fee sheet from your LOS and build out your template. I'll show you on the conventional product how it is then once you have one fee template, how it is easy to copy one from another. So we'll go ahead and cover that on the conventional product. Before we move on, the last thing I want to do is show you that you can remove a fee just by pressing that trash can, and that removes it from your template. So in the lower right-hand corner, let's go ahead and press Save as Template and name your fee template. And I'm just naming mine fees, and I'm putting in today's date. You'll see now in the drop-down, you have the fee template that you just created. Once you're all done entering your fees, you want to click on Apply to Loan, and it will total all your APR fees and non-APR fees and contributions and place it within the screen and graze out those fields. So if you have to make any kind of modifications at all, just go to the closing cost details, make your modification, and always remember to apply to loan. And then that will go ahead and update these figures here. So if you have any questions regarding the fees, we will be going through them one more time when we get to the conventional product. So let's move on to our monthly cost screen. And in here, you'll be able to also have default. So it's great. The more you fill out, the quicker it is going to be for you. And this screen particularly can be filled out, and you don't have to key anything in with that template. So first thing, let's open up all our factor fields by pressing that percent sign. And for hazard insurance, I'm placing an estimate of 0.35 and taxes at 1.25. We're located in California, so this is the estimate that we use here. If you don't want to use a percentage and want to use a dollar amount for your template, that's fine too. You could go ahead and place in $100 as your estimate for hazard insurance, and that will be part of your default. So either way, a dollar amount or a percentage field, whichever way you want to be able to work it. Now let's place in our mortgage insurance. With our mortgage insurance, let's put in the factor of 1.35. And with FHA, they calculate their MI on the outstanding balance. So you want to make sure that box is marked. And the other option for FHA is they have to carry MI for the life of the loan. So I'm putting in the 360 for my MI cutoff month. When we get to the conventional, I'll explain this field a little bit more for you. And lastly, once we go through, let's put in our reserve. So I'm putting in 2 months and 4 months for my taxes. It's always good to have something in here. I know as you, as the months, continue on, it might be different numbers in this area. You can always override what is in your default, but you can also update your products as well if it changes from 4 months and now you're collecting 6 months. So either way you want to work it, you could just go ahead and either modify a template or just override the data. Last item here, I'm going to collect 12 months premium. And what this will do, and let me show you, if you have this marked, if I move back to my fee screen and go into our closing cost details, you'll notice now we have 3 additional line items, and that is your reserve. So this is how the screens, our monthly costs, and our fee screens are hooked together. Notice that these are grayed out. The only way you can make any kind of changes is in the monthly cost. But I also want to point out that if I remove my insurance premium, my hazard insurance premium, applied it to the loan, you'll notice that in the monthly cost screen, it's now unmarked. So that's how those two screens will correlate with each other and how they work. So I want to point that out to you. So now what we want to do is save it as a template. So it brought in the title of our product, and for my purpose, you don't have to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and put in today's date. And it just dawned on me, I think I put in the 2014 for all my other templates. So getting used to that new year. So now let's go ahead and add our second product. So at the green button at the base, add another product. Let's go ahead and add a conventional 30-year. So a conventional, 5% down. And I want to point out with the product titles, you want to keep those to about 12 characters for your report. So with it, again, if you have a conventional template, go ahead and pull that down, and you can work directly from that. But let's go ahead and build one together. So let's put in $350,000. Our down payment is 5%, interest rate 4.5%, and our term is 360. So with that, you'll have the 5% down as well as the 360 as part of your default. You'll notice I do not have it marked yes as a VA or FHA. And when we advance to our fee screen, you'll notice that the upfront MIP field is no longer there. That is what that yes and no controls. So I just wanted to point that out. Prepaid interest, let's go ahead and put in your default for prepaid interest. So that's part of our template. And let's dive into our closing cost details. So with that, what we're going to do, and if you're on an enterprise account, this is how you would modify fees if they're slightly different. If corporate made your fee templates, but your branch might have your fees slightly different. You would just bring down the fee template, and you'll notice that this is the fee template I had just created, and you can bring it down. So say my appraisal fee on my conventional product is $450. And I also have a tax service fee on my conventional products that I don't have on my FHA products. So this is how you can modify a template that's already been created. I mean, not in the sense of modifying a template, it's creating a new one. It's pulling down an existing template, make any kind of modifications, add fees, delete fees, update fees. And just remember, before you leave, save it as a template. So anytime you do a new product and you're modifying your fees, get in the habit of always saving your template. So I'm going to go ahead and put in conventional fees, 1-9-15. And if you originate multiple states, you want to indicate that, and then press OK, and you'll have that as part of your template. So that's how you can work modifying templates and really moving quicker in developing those templates as you're creating reports. So once we're done, we want to apply to loan. And you'll see all the information is filled in. And now we just need to go in and key in our monthly cost. So I put in 0.35 for hazard, 1.35 for taxes, 1.25, excuse me. 1.35, or now once we're getting to our mortgage insurance. So with the mortgage insurance, we only have 5% down, so I'm going to go ahead and use a factor of 0.67. It's not an FHA loan or USDA loan, so I'm keeping the calc MI on balance unmarked. So the next thing I want to talk about is these two fields here, the MI cutoff percentage as well as the MI cutoff month. The way these two fields work hand in hand is, say on my policy, I have a minimum of 2 years for MI. So if that's the case, I put in 24 months. So on the 25th month, the system will start looking to checking the LTV percentage. Once it's reached 78%, your MI is cut from the loan, so it's been dropped off. So that's what, with the 360 on FHA, it's telling it that the cutoff, it goes for the life of the loan. So just want to be able to distinguish those two fields for you. Now let's put in our hazard of 2 months and our property tax of 4 and collect that 12 months premium. Once we're done, let's go ahead and save it as a template. So I have it as my conventional 5% down, and I'm placing in my date. and we're done with it. So we just created 2 product templates as well as 2 fee templates in your account. So now once we're done here, you can create up to 4 products. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and stop, and let's advance to our analysis screen. In our analysis screen, this is where you can put in your property appreciation rate. We have it at 3%. Just find out what it is in your area, or you can even leave it at 0 if you choose to do so. Short-term analysis is at 60 months. Long-term is at 15. This is great conversational pieces when you start talking to the borrower. Say you're doing a VA loan and he knows he's going to be transferred within 4 years. Instead of 60, put in a 4-year marker and be able to show them the short-term savings of that 4-year period. The same if they don't plan on moving for 7 years. You can increase that to the 7-year mark. So these are all fields that as you start learning Edge, you really be able to customize your reports, really develop it for what your borrower goals are. So here you have your monthly savings. Want to point out our benchmarks. Our benchmarks is always set to the highest payment. So if you ever want to compare against the highest payment, you would just come in here, select the product you want to compare against, and then it will switch the graphs around. If you're doing a current mortgage, always remember to make sure your benchmark is pointing to the current mortgage because that's what you're comparing against. Bottom right-hand corner, as I said earlier, we're showing total interest in MI paid, but you do have an option to show net worth as well as principal paid. And that investment strategy we talked about earlier, the reinvestment strategy, the analysis screen and the adjust reinvestment strategy button, this is where that comes into play. You'll see up at the top here, you have in green $197 of savings a month over that FHA product. So if I wanted my payments to be apples to apples, I would put in $197.27 toward principal. Now my payments are the exact same, but I have a freedom point of 24.25 years. So you'll be able to show them how to be able to apply principal toward their payment and have that loan paid off sooner. We also have areas down here, our savings balance. Remember I talked to you earlier about entering that field. This is where you could see it is in this screen, and you could see if they have enough money for cash to close. We also have an option to be able to take that savings and place it in an investment account. So I know this is quite a bit going through the reinvestment. I'm not really focusing my time. I want to be able to provide just a little bit of hint of what Edge can do with this screen. Great video tutorial, and our Thursday's trainings really go through this aspect. Moving on to our next screen, we have our contact information. You could just fill out your information of your borrower in this area, or if you're not quite sure of the property address, you could go ahead and put in to be determined. You can also put in a label called great time to buy, and I'll show you on the report where that will go ahead and display. So moving on, we're almost done here. We have our total cost analysis. If you want to see an amortization schedule, you have that option too. Here, if you want to ever remove a report product from your report, this is where you do it. You just uncheck it, and then it will not appear on your report. Our payment notes, this is a compliance piece. You would want to type something like estimated, taxes and insurance are included in your payment. There's also additional area for some type of text. So I'll show you when we get to our report where this will display. And, you know, it's not a lot of space, but if you need to add any additional information, you do have an area here that you could do so. Now, the next 3 screens are just review of the graphs as well as the sidebar text. You can always take your mouse, hover it over presentation, and go directly up to the preview pop-out screen. That will take you to the very last screen here. What we want to do is go ahead and place in today's quote date. And now let's check out a report. You see we have an option to print as well as saving as a PDF. Both of these options are part of that email link. So we're going to focus on the email link. Those email alerts that I showed you, this is how to mark it if you want to receive it. If it's unmarked, you will not receive that email alert, so make sure that's always marked. that in the client section, when we keyed in that partner email address, if they want to see the email alert, you just mark it and they'll start receiving those email alerts. Now let's preview our report and let's take a look. So we just created our total cost analysis with our FHA and our conventional product. To add highlights, what I do is take my mouse over the field and left click. That's how you can do any type of highlights on a report. If you want to do a whole product and highlight the whole column, just click at the very top of the label and it will go ahead and highlight that column. Again, if you click it, it will unmark them. We also have the option, if you have quite a bit of highlighted, you'll notice at the bottom center there's a clear all button. If you press that, you'll notice that all your highlights have been cleared out. In the lower right-hand corner, we have a Save and a Print button. If you do a print, you can see that it has the exact same of the face of the report, as well as page 2, 3, 4. It has all the details behind that more info, as well as your disclosure text. Saving as a PDF will provide that same format that you saw in that print view. Moving back to Edge, let's go into Generate Link. And with the Generate Link, this is what you want to send to your borrower. So you would do a copy and paste that into an email and send that to your borrower. So now let's add a video to your report. So if you click on Add Video, you'll notice that the report will come up, and in the lower left-hand corner is now a button for Record Message. If you go ahead and click on that, I'm going to go ahead and allow use of my camera and microphone. Hi everyone, I'm Lori. What you want to do here is go ahead and place a message. This is a great time to introduce yourself. A lot of times this is the first time you've seen your client or they've seen you. So introduce yourself, provide a little bit of background, make eye contact, then describe a little bit about your report. You can also identify if they want to print a hard copy. They could do so in the lower right-hand corner. And then do a call to action. So once you have that, you go ahead and do your video. You'll notice, too, at the base here that there's a way that you can record audio only. So if you want to just put an audio message, you could do that as well. And then just to see it, you have your Record Message button. If you want to watch it, view it, you got your play, a pause. If you're in the middle of recording, you can pause it, stop, as well as erase. So if you don't want to have that recording, you can go ahead and erase it from your report. Okay? And lastly, let's go ahead and do our Edge Live. So going through this, I want to point out that this Edge Live and the preview are one and the same. So if you had a preview open or Edge Live, you could do the same process. So what I'm going to do now is open up my iPad, and let's go ahead and bring up our Mortgage Coach app as well. Just one moment. Okay, just one moment. There we go. Okay, I'm bringing the app over. Okay, just one moment. Bear with me, everyone. Okay, for now, I'm not going to be bringing up my mobile device. I'm having some technical issues with the program that opens that. So we'll just go ahead and show you how you'll be able to use that Edge Live. So the first off, let's go ahead and grab that link. And just as I mentioned earlier, with that link, if they paste it in an email, it's just like pasting it up here in the web page. So they click on it, it would open just as you see here. You have your disclosure language. They could go ahead and just press I understand. And let's go ahead and pull this away. Why am I having difficulties today? Just one moment. So what I'm getting with, Okay, let's work with it this way. So I'm going to have my report side by side. Let me go ahead and clean quite a bit of this out of here. Okay. So let's go ahead and start it. Unfortunately, you're going to have to, let's put this on. Let me try it one more time to knock it off. Nope, doesn't work. So the borrower is going to have to go ahead and press I understand. The one thing with the borrower's report, you'll notice that there's no clear all button in the middle center. Whereas if I go to your report, there's a clear all button. If I highlight the FHA product, it will go ahead and highlight on the borrower's copy. If I do a clear all, it will go ahead and clear out that highlights on the borrower's copy as well. You could talk to the borrower by opening that More Info button, and it will open up on the borrower's copy. You could then talk about the breakdown, closing costs, and other items of their loan options. So with that, that's what Edge Live will help you be able to hold that conversation with the borrower. And the best way to do that, to learn Edge Live, is to take that link and either provide it to a coworker, a friend, and that's a great way to start. Have them have the report open. You have your copy open with that clear all button in the center, and just start talking to them about it. Use the highlights. Go into the More Info button and just see how it works, and work with them and understanding the process. And once you've done it a couple times, it's quite simple, and you'll enjoy it. It's a great way of providing that information to your borrower. So now we've finished our report. We created a video, talked a little about Edge Live. Now what I want to do is let's go ahead and go to our home screen. And I want to show you where those product templates and fee templates are located. So if you click on your settings, you come into the first tab is your contact info. You want to make sure all this information is updated. Your license number, make sure you have an identifier in front of the number. On your report, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner your license numbers. If you don't have the identifier, it's just a number, and the borrower or anyone else wouldn't know. So just make sure you put your identifier. Also, your branch address, so that'll appear in the upper left-hand side. Anytime you make any modifications, just always remember to press Save. If you have fields here that are grayed out that need changes, most likely you're on an enterprise account, contact your admin, or email us at support@mortgagecoach.com, and we can help get that updated for you. The next tab is your images. You need to upload your headshot, your image here, just by browsing. Upload your image, as well as your logo. Now you have the two tabs that we want to talk about, our fee tab as well as our product templates. So this is our fee template tab, and you can see how we have the templates that I just created when we created our report. So if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you have a Save As button. That's our copy button. So if you click on Save As, it will allow you to go ahead and identify that new template, identify if it's for a specific state, and once you print OK, it's just copied all those fees over to a new fee template, and then you could just go ahead and make your adjustments accordingly. So you can see how quick that process is. Once you've created one template, creating the next template goes rather quickly. You can also delete your template if you want to remove any. And then the last button in the lower left is your fees. So if you do any kind of custom fees, want to make a correction, this is where you could do it. You could fill in the information, update the text, as well as your radio buttons for the calculation percentage or marking as an APR. So that's where you do all your cleanup, is in that fees button there. So now let's run over to our product templates tab. And in here, let's look for our product template, and I'm going to go into our FHA template. If you do create the templates like we had just done, it does save over the interest rate. I always like to remove that because to me the interest rate is important, and it should be input on every loan and not taking a chance of updating it. So I always remove that, but you see how the yes is marked as a template, the down payment, your prepaid interest, your 1.75, your months for hazard and taxes and premium. Here's your monthly costs, It's all filled out for you, so you'll be able to have that screen you won't have to touch when you go into Edge. And closing cost details. So this is something that you need to determine how you want to do this. So closing cost details, because we did save it with the fees within the system, you could go ahead and either leave this template here, or if you decide you want to use the drop-down and not have it tagged to a product template, it's just simple. Just remove all your fees here, apply it to the template, and it's been removed. And when you create the Edge report, you could just use the drop-down at that point. So just wanted to point out this is where your product templates are and where you can make any kind of modifications. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is bring up Rate Watch, and then we'll be closing shortly. So with Rate Watch, let me go ahead and bring, okay, I'm going to just change my screen real quick, move a few things around so you could see my question. Okay, so with Rate Watch, I have our desk version on top, and I don't, let's go ahead. Nope, I can't get my reflector up. So this is Rate Watch, and again, it has the same login ID and same password. The download for the desktop version is in the chat section. If you need it, you can always email it at support too, as well as a mobile app. So with Rate Watch, you have your home screen. You can identify the different agencies to view as well as the different coupon rates. You also have different averages you'd be able to look at if you want 1 month, 10 days, or 3 months. We also have Day Watch, which is today's rates. You'd be able to watch that. You can see how they have alerts throughout the day. The alerts are also listed here, and you can sign up to receive those on your text as well on your phone. You have Edge Views. If you did any Edge reports and had email alerts, they would be right here listed for you as well. Our next tab is Commentary. So each day, Dan Rotwich goes ahead and posts a video of the economic news. So you can have it here. Good thing is go ahead and click on that, maybe bookmark it, so you always have that available. He has that information that you'll be able to view and watch. We also have Neil, if you click on those, a lot of economic data that you'd be able to see and view. Also, if you want to use any of this information, as long as you just quote the site, we're fine. You could go ahead and use that in your emails or providing information to your borrower. And then lastly, we have the Lenders tab. And with the Lenders tab, it's just showing you how other lenders are pricing, if the pricing's favorable or maybe the rates have increased. So this shows you about how many people, how they're moving in today's economy. You have the option here to be able to see rate sheets, and it's the average movement of an FHA, conforming, or jumbo, as well as fixed or ARM products. So you'll be able to check those rates out for various lenders. You can also create your own list of lenders that you want to track. And to do that, if I press this settings button right here, you'll see the pop out on the side. This is where you can also set up your email alerts, be able to indicate what you would like to see as well as your phone number, your cell phone number, when you want to receive those alerts. And then if you want to track any kind of lenders, you go into the lenders area and then just identify the lender that you want to be able to watch, and you can build your own list here. Once you've modified all these tabs here, you always want to press Submit. That will then submit the information to Mortgage Coach, and then we'll start being able to send you those alerts and any items that you had requested through here. So let's go back to my other screen here. Okay, so that was Rate Watch, and we have gone through Edge. So what I'm going to do is wrap up our call. I do want to go over to our Help button. I want to show you our coaching calls, where you can find those, as well as signing up for Thursday's training. So with that, you can see once you've gone into our knowledge base, access our coaching call archive. So if I click on that, it will go ahead and provide you all our past coaching calls. So we had one this past Tuesday with Ann Lohr and Dan Keller. Great call with Ann talking about generational awareness. So that is a great call. And the other call I wanted to point out is Josh Meadows' call. And if you're working with scripting or want more information, it's a great call to listen to. And I can't find it. It's right in this area here. So you would just look at it. It's Josh Meadows. And again, if you have any want to be able to have that asset, can't seem to find it, just email us at support. We can get that to you. So to sign up for these Tuesday coaching calls, you would just click here and go ahead and sign up for it. And our Thursday call is to continue your education in EDGE. So if you click there, you can sign up for our Thursday's trainings. If you have a specific topic you want to be able to have shown in EDGE, you can let us know. That time period is for you. So anything you want to see in EDGE will help build, answer any type of question. So that's our Thursday's training. And then moving back to EDGE, let's go ahead back to our knowledge base. We also have that changed. We also have our month's calendar of events. So if you want to see what those coaching calls are for January or for the future, we have it here. If there's anyone in your office also wants to learn EDGE, here's the introduction training classes that we have in January that they can sign up for. So with that, everybody, what I would like you to do is get into EDGE, create a report. If you have any questions, email us at support. Email us your links. If you have any questions, we can review those for you and answer any type of questions. So with that, thank you for taking your time today and attending our Introduction to EDGE class. And if you have any questions, again, email us at support. I'll be on the line for a few more minutes, so if you have any questions, I'll be here to answer those for you. Thank you for attending, and let us know how we can help you be successful with Mortgage Coaches EDGE. Okay, I have no questions, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this call. Again, thank you for attending. Enjoy your day.